8 years of production hell, multiple studios being handed this movie year after year with no end of hell in sight, but finally, guys, we're here. The Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Hello everyone, Amazing Gamer 111 here, welcoming you to the movie review of FNAF at Freddy's. And joined with me today is Allison.
Hey yo, it's me, Allison Comer1. Yo, what's good?
And Pick, who hasn't been on the channel since Fun Times in Gmod. It's good to have you back.
It's good to be back, my friend.
So, Five Nights at Freddy's the movie. Walking in and out of that theater, I had no idea what to expect, because at that point, Five Nights at Freddy's have been in such a strange place, especially with the recent release of Security Breach. It looked like the writing may have been on the wall for the FNAF franchise, but then the trailers and teasers started coming out, and I started to become a little more open to the franchise again and looking into it some more, and then the movie dropped, and I just couldn't believe that just incredible. I mean, first I want to reassure everyone who thinks this is me bashing the movie. Absolutely not. This is an incredible film. It's a treat for FNAF fans. It's a little iffy if you're outside of the FNAF franchise, but Jason Blum did say this was a movie for the fan base. In the marketing, in the interviews, in the advertisement, it was all for the fandom. And I guess we should just jump straight into our general response walking out of the theater, seeing the movie for the very first time. Allison, let's start with you. What were your first thoughts after seeing Five Nights at Freddy's for the first time?
It felt like a childhood movie to me. It felt like how I did when I first watched the My Little Pony movie. Just like walking out of that theater with a happy smile on my face, just getting to experience this fun little goofy movie. It was amazing.
I went to see it with a lifelong friend who was also just into the game as I was when I was young. So seeing it with her, walking out of the theater, I was honestly, I was tearing up. It felt nostalgic to me. It felt complete in terms of being a fan of the franchise.
Me too, and I got to go see this movie in theaters with my brothers. It's completely spoiler-free. We'd made a pact years ago as well, when Warner Brothers first announced they were making this movie. Do you guys remember that? When that was a thing?
Oh yeah, I remember.
And then they made Banana Splits and completely just crapped the bed with that film.
It was good, but honestly, they should have just
I love Banana Splits for how bad it is.
Yeah, it's like a so bad it's good movie, you know. After years and years of waiting, my brothers and I, even with life complications, we found the time when it came out to come together and go and see the movie, just the three of us, like we'd always wished for the last 7 or 8 years. We have been waiting for it, and we weren't prepared. It felt like last year was a big year for video game movies, you know, first with Mario that knocked it out of the park, and I was shocked about how well FNAF did. I mean, a $20 million budget and got a return of 300 million. Marvel wishes they could do that well today. And Disney.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, holy hell. Like, there are executives who wish they could do those kinds of numbers. And and by the way, this released on Peacock the day it came out in theaters, like day and date, and still made that much money. And I think now Universal's going to put a lot more faith into FNAF with the sequel.
I went to see it on the Thursday night previews before the movie actually came out. And
oh wow, really?
Yeah, I went, it was yeah. And like they do that here in America, and they get a little bit of extra money for that. And I think, if I remember correctly, on Friday, it was released that the movie on Thursday night previews had made around like 10 or 12 million just from Thursday night alone, which I thought was genuinely impressive for it being released on Peacock at like 6:30, 7 p.m. that day too.
Yeah, it's incredible. Just seeing our franchise do this well on the big screen is something I never thought, especially considering all the scripts that were considered during its production.
Another fellow horror movie called Split, like the first Split. It beat that.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, FNAF is now one of the top 3 most well-performing horror movies in history, alongside the first It and also It Chapter 2. Number 3 on the pedestal. How crazy is that? Five Nights at Freddy's is on the number 3 podium.
Honestly,
That's awesome.
If it was beat out by It Chapter and 2, it might as well be number 2, as it's just like, I think just one movie, so it's practically number 2 on there. But that's impressive. I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess without further ado, folks, I think we should get into the story of this movie, get into the meat. And also, before we do, I'd like to say this is a spoiler review, obviously. We are going to be going into a lot of detail about everything with this movie. Its story, its production, characters, everything we love about it. All of it. So if you don't want spoilers, jump out now, go watch the movie. It's off of Peacock, unfortunately, but it is on Amazon, so you can watch it there, or get it on DVD. You know, pick your poison. The story follows Mike Schmidt, which is a name I never thought I'd hear again from the franchise. It's been too long. It's been so long. funny, haha joke. So we follow him, and he's just been fired from his job at the mall as security after beating up a guy because he accused him of abducting a child, because when Mike was a kid, his younger brother Garrett was taken by a mysterious man in a car, and he never saw Garrett again. And this sort of haunts him to the present day as an adult, constantly trying to find work and fumbling. He's taking care of his little sister Abby, and when his Aunt Jane comes along and tries to take custody of Abby, and best character ever in the movie, Doug, a lawyer, threatens to take Abby from Mike, he has to go and get a job at Freddy Fazbear's with the help of Steve Raglan. Totally not William Afton undercover or anything. Totally not. He's like voiced by Matthew Lillard.
Fun fact, y'all peeps. Matthew Lillard was in a horror movie before he voiced Shaggy called in the Scream franchise, if y'all know the Scream franchise. He played one of the killers.
Oh, yeah.
I hope you guys all know.
Which was also Blumhouse.
Please say yes.
Yes,
Scream was not Blumhouse.
Oh, was it not? I thought it was Blumhouse.
It was not Blumhouse.
Where have I been?
I think it was like freaking, hang on, let me look it up because I
Miramax, the Wayne Company, and Paramount. Miramax made one
or something like Uster, some crap. Yeah,
the Weinstein Company, known for producing such classics like Hoodwinked. Later on, Mike does end up getting the job at Freddy's, but finds out things get a little spooky at night, and the animatronics get a bit quirky. And after his second night on the shift, he has a dream about his brother Garrett being taken again, only this time he's interrupted by 5 children. And he's never seen these children in his dreams before. What is this all about? Well, now that he's in the premises of Freddy's, and as we all know, there are ghosts in those robots, and they can tap into his dreams with some paranormal activity stuff, which I'm glad the movie was able to tap into, and we could actually see the kids for the first time. They're not little 8-bit characters anymore. They are, you could see, they're always, whenever they're on screen, they never smile. They are always sad or angry. And when Mike tries to go and talk to one of them, it happens to be the kid with the little, plastic pirate hook, and ends up stabbing Mike and makes him bleed out, which I was shocked to see such detail of for a PG-13 movie. And, well, if you thought that was detailed, wait till the deaths later.
Yeah, that was some Nightmare on Elm Street kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, and they even did the black, eyes with the pupils as well when he was, screaming and crying, black ink or something. That was grim.
It was the black tears. Black tears, blacked out eyes and the tears, yeah.
When he wakes up, he ends up getting a visit from Vanessa. Not exactly the security breach Vanessa. I'd like to say this is a major improvement of that Vanessa, because she's an actual police officer now. She doesn't work for Freddy's. She went to Freddy's when she was a kid, but she's
she
come
didn't
to visit
turn out to
Blue.
be a furry. So that makes her better.
She didn't turn out to be a furry this time. There you go. Yeah. And she sort of advises Mike to just stay alert, and the things do get weird at Freddy's. Security hires don't last, which we see from the very first scene of the movie, which we're going to talk about in a bit once we get to the pros and the cons and our favorite things about the movie. The security hires, they don't last here. And when Vanessa leaves in the morning, some people Jane has hired. One specifically, Abby's babysitter, Max, and her brother and some of their friends. They come in to try and ruin Mike's work, make him look bad on his resume or on paper for the court and whatnot, so they can immediately just take custody of Abby, saying he's not fit for a job, he's wrecking the place, take the kid. But instead of going in and just wrecking stuff and taking what they want and getting the job done, the animatronics are out for blood in this film. They don't let that slide. It's like, they destroyed the pinball machine, and Freddy was like, I took that personally. Kill time.
Nah, he literally bit someone in half. He literally said, yeah, this is scrumptious.
Delicious human flesh. And the way they do, this is easily my favorite scene in the movie, when the vandalizers break into Freddy's and are taken out by each of the animatronics. Chica sneaks into the kitchen with one of them, and Cupcake is the one who gets the jump on them. The Cupcake is an actual character now in the movie. That's hilarious to me. It's actually a thing.
Yeah, it's funny because the Cupcake is out for blood throughout the movie. Like,
he's vile. Well, I'd say Dorco's description once of saying he's like a rabid dog is the best, like, description ever, because we know that the kid that possesses Chico is called Susie, and we know Susie had a dog. Maybe Susie's dog died because of Afton. Maybe, and it possessed the Cupcake.
Yeah, the Cupcake is possessed by the dog, so I guess that would... It would be funny if it was a Chihuahua, though. It would be funny.
I mean, a bit Mike's ankle. I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
It did bite his ankle. And then later on, the others get destroyed by... Hank gets found by Bonnie in the closet, who was hiding in the shadows, and bashes his skull against a brick wall, or at least we can hear, because we don't see a lot of these deaths, but we do hear how gruesome they sound from the sound design, which is amazing in this movie.
There was some nasty bone crunching coming from the closet, so either he was bashing him against the walls, or he was using his 2-ton strength to literally crush his bones.
It must have been very painful.
If I remember, there was a behind-the-scenes photo with Hank, and his arm had a bone sticking out of it, like it was...
Yeah, his bone was sticking out of his arm, like the middle of his arm, the bone was, like, stretched out and all that. That was...
I can't remember.
I wish they'd used some of that. Yeah. And it's just, the way the animatronics react as well, it's like, they feel like heavy machines in this movie. Because, like, when they walk, there is just this massive, hulking stomp whenever they walk on the ground and all that. And the way they just slowly turn, you can hear their cogs whirring from the inside of the suit, and even when they blink, you could just hear like a clicking sound, and there's like, oh, they really paid attention to the animatronic
The sound design in this movie is what makes the animatronics as threatening as they are, sorta.
Yeah.
Oh, especially.
I'll get to my sorta in a second. But...
And another thing, you all listening out there, if you like want more like descriptions on like the FNAF movie and how it was made, check out Dead Meat's video. He can explain how the animatronics were made.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. They were made, let's mention it here quickly, they were made by the supremely talented Jim Henson Company, who, once again, just like Muppets, just like Sesame Street, just like dinosaurs, pulled their fingers out big time here. They literally look like the models were plucked out of the first game. They are so accurate, and I love it.
They are beautiful.
That's funny for me because Sesame Street and the Muppets were my childhood, so seeing that they made a part of my childhood, which was way more darker, was funny to me, personally.
Yeah.
The people who made Kermit the Frog made Freddy Fazbear in real life. That's just so funny.
At least they didn't get Bonnie eyebrows. Let's be grateful for that.
I don't think they would do that, but that would have been kind of funny.
Yeah, that would have been.
I've seen fan art of that, and bro, Bonnie looks so cursed with eyebrows.
Yeah, he does. He definitely does. I mean, imagine how Toy Bonnie's gonna look in the second movie.
I hope Toy Bonnie's in the second movie.
Well, we'll see when we cross that bridge, I suppose. But the deaths continue, obviously, with what's his name? Jeff. Yeah, Jeff was attacked by Foxy when he runs down the hallway, and not only that, they did something I was convinced they weren't going to do, and it's use the first game's jump scare sound effect. That's incredible that we get to hear that on the movie theater screen.
I didn't even hear it at first. My theater I don't know if we're gonna talk about like our in-theater experience, but I'm gonna throw it in here real quick. My theater
Oh,
was
yeah.
very reactive, which I was loving, but it also got me to miss a few things. So the first time I did not hear the first FNAF scream when Foxy ran at Jeff, and I only
Yeah.
heard it after rewatching it on Peacock the next day. But I was ecstatic.
I know that got a kick out of a lot of fans because it's like, yo, they used the jump scare sound effect from the game. That's awesome. Because that's from another movie entirely, like when a woman gives birth to an alien.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest pull ever. But, you know, I'll take it.
And what's cool is that Foxy's da-da-dum-dum-dums are actually not voiced by...
It's in the movie, yeah.
It's in the movie. It's
But
different,
it's not-
but it's in the movie.
It's different. It's different, but it's in the film.
I like it better, though.
It was also voiced by Kellen Golf, who voices Funtime Freddy. You figured it would have been like the original voice actor in the game who played Foxy.
Yeah, and I only found that out like sitting watching the credits, like when the Dum Diddly Dum came on screen, it's like performed by Kellen Goff, and I'm like, oh my god, Kellen did that! That's cool! So good for you, Kellen. Well done for making your movie debut for FNAF. Well done, you deserve it.
And like voice actor, the OG voice actor of Foxy in Help Wanted, and as well as UCN, whatever you watched the original voice actor of Foxy on, was like okay with this. He's like, yeah, cool.
So after that, we finally get Freddy's kill, which is actually interesting because we can see that the kids can project themselves outside of the suits, which is really cool. And Max gets lured into a false sense of security, jumps up on a chair, and Freddy's kid's hand reaches out, pulls her into the suit, and was that the point of 87? Claps her in half. Holy crap. For a PG-13 movie, that's quite dark.
There was a scream and then a cheer.
Yeah, let's go, she got clapped in half. And the creepy thing is, like, when she was cut in half, even though the lower part of her body wasn't connected to her anymore, the legs were still kicking from the nerves, and I was like, oh my god, that's actually really dark.
Yeah, that can
Jesus.
actually happen sometimes.
Yeah, because a fun fact for your kids at home, if your head is cut off, you don't die immediately. You can still see. Even, like, if your body's walking around without a head, you can still see for, like, 30 seconds before you die. Yeah,
Exactly.
creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a horrifying thought, but you know, there it is. Fun facts for you kids. A few fun facts for you, matey. A few fun facts for you.
Looking at some bare naked endo for 30 seconds before she actually died. Poor woman.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure after the intruders were murdered, they were stuffed into like other suits as like little fun Easter eggs.
Yeah, Vanessa did that.
Indeed, including Sparky the dog. He's canon in the movies.
I think Hank
like
is
that's
Sparky.
incredible.
I think Hank is now Sparky. Max
Hank is
Freddy,
now Sparky. Yeah.
Jeff and Cole.
Oh, we also completely forgot
to.
to. We skimmed over this completely when Aunt Jane was hiring Max and the others to scheme on breaking into
How could we
Freddy's.
forget this?
Mr. It's just a theory, a game theory. Joins in on the movie cast.
MatPat appears in the movie as like a cameo, and honestly, I feel bad for Doug. That man needs a raise.
He did get his appetizers though in a TikTok post after the movie came out,
Yeah,
which is
he
good
did.
for him.
He got those
Finally.
damn
Yeah.
appetizers.
Oh, that reminds me. Do we want to talk about YouTubers real quick? That was supposed to be in.
Yeah, we should do
episode.
that because even outside of MatPat and the taxi driver, which we'll get to, there are other YouTubers in this movie.
Yes, there were, and it was very fun little cameos.
I want to bring up how Markiplier was supposed to be the first thing you see in the movie.
Yeah, he was meant to play the guard who kicked the bucket at the start of the film, but unfortunately, due to scheduling filming with Iron Lung, he was unable to come in and
Controversial opinion here. Kind of glad he didn't get that role because I
yeah,
don't
me
think
too.
this movie's
If I'm honest,
tone-
I'm
Yeah.
glad because that would have taken me out of the movie immediately.
As much as I would love to see Markiplier in a movie, I don't want to see the credits start rolling, but hearing Markiplier's goofy scream at the same time. I liked the guy's terror that he had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bob,
Because
his name's
it
Bob.
also felt reminiscent of the opening of the movie. Can I just mention this real quick? Felt very reminiscent of the 30-minute online YouTube movie by Bubblegum Monsters, their FNAF movie, because it started the same way, and I'm like, hey, that's like the Bubblegum Monsters movie. I used to love watching that when I was younger, so it felt like a nod to that, and I was like, yeah, that's cool.
The first half of the movie, in my opinion, felt like kind of meh. Like, I mean, it's cool that they, had another guard, but I wish we could have seen what would have happened to the guard, like, afterwards? Like, what did they do with the body?
I mean, I would have liked to get... I do agree, though. I would like some sort of explanation as to where he went. Like, was he stuffed in a suit? Was his body burnt or something? I guess we'll never know.
He was I'm digging deep, as the first movie has nothing to do with what I'm about to mention, but I feel like Afton used him for Remnant and then just threw his bucket out somewhere, or threw his body out somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe. So then, after all that, Vanessa reports the news to Mike that someone broke into Freddy's, which shouldn't really be his problem, because that happened after he locked up during the day. That's kind of unfair, even for an officer.
Let's not mention that the whole vandalizing scene was in the day.
Yeah.
And that was the first time we've ever seen the animatronics act out in the daytime.
Yeah, it's like, boom, we could see them moving around in the day. They can move after 6 a.m. How about that?
The game's a lie.
The games are a lie.
You want to know something that I've been questioning? Like, if it's not Michael's problem during the daytime, and because he's only supposed to work the night shift, not like the whole day shift, like night and day, that should be someone else's job and responsibility. So technically, it's their fault, not Michael's.
The closest thing I could get to an excuse for Vanessa thinking that was, if he's the guard leaving the place, he should be able to lock the door so that no one can get in.
Yeah, and also, Vanessa, he didn't forget to lock the door. They just busted the lock. So, fact check, Vanessa. Stupid.
Yeah, exactly. What did your dad teach you? He only taught you 2 jobs.
We'll get to that joke near the climax. But, after a sad sack solidarity between Mike and Vanessa explaining the Garrett backstory to her, she throws his pills into the lake and says, "Stay alert at Freddy's." And because Max is dead, Abby has to go with Mike to Freddy's, and she ends up running into the animatronics while, should I say, Mike is having a dream with the spirit of Golden Freddy and saying, "If we show you what happened to your brother, what will you give us?" And Mike says, "I'll give you anything." And at that point I knew, it's like, oh no, I know what they want. They want Abby, don't they? Sure enough, later in the movie. And what he's left with is a mud sort of drawing of a rabbit. FNAF fans will know what that means. And Mike awakes to the sound of Abby being, presumably, attacked by Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, only to find out that, no, they were just chilling and playing with her. So I guess, before Freddy absolutely folds Mike, Abby jumps in to save him and says, "This is my brother," and they back off. And this is the first section of the movie where we get to see the animatronics also acting like kids, like the suits, the kids that are inside the suits, because they're just like, oh, this guy's cool, alright. And this is the first part of the movie where I genuinely, like, felt uneasy. Not, like, in a bad way, but it's like that 360 panning shot of Mike just looking around like, "Congratulations, you got me!" And then that just, like, that ominous piano tapping music plays as the animatronics just stare at him like, this ain't a joke, these things are alive. And we all felt that playing FNAF 1 for the first time, seeing these things move, let's be honest. Just the mere dread of, like, they're alive and, you know, they're sentient. I just love it. I love it when movies, like, do that. They take the time to chill and be like, yeah, this is the reality of the situation, and it's horrifying when you think about it. Because, yeah, these kids had their lives taken away from them, like, around the age of, like, 10 or something. It's like they had their whole lives ahead of them, and it's really sad that they got taken away. After that, Abby draws the animatronics a little heart and goes home, and Mike begins to connect the dots with some drawings that Abby did of the children, and it's like, those are the kids I've seen in my dreams. But they also have the features of the robots. Oh my god, it's them. And so Mike, once again the following night, takes Abby back to Freddy's, where Vanessa's there, and she's like, well, you figured it out. And this is when we get the very controversial fort scene. Allison, we'll start off with you, because we know you have the most to say about this scene.
Oh, where do I start with this? It was so enjoyable and so adorable, just like Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy just playing around with Abby, Vanessa, and I don't know why, but I feel like Vanessa's just like the mother figure, or just like the big sister figure to the animatronics souls and children. And just seeing them play around with Abby and each of them just being goofy in their own special way, especially Bonnie when he was like doing his like little yippee and then he falls. And like Abby had like goes to check on him like a sibling, and like Bonnie's just like, I'm good. And overall it was enjoyable, but I could kind of see why they did this as like a false sense of security, to be like, hey, oh, for like Michael to be like, oh, okay, like Abby could play with these guys because, you know, they're kids, you know, I mean, what could they do? But then there's like something else like behind the scenes, which we'll get into later.
Yeah. Like, they're luring them into a false sense of security, like, you can trust us with Abby, we just want to play. Pick, what did you think of the fort scene?
I have two different views on it. One side of me was like, okay, this is goofy, this is funny, this is for the tablet kids. And the other side of me didn't like it that much because 20 minutes before this scene, we just saw them murder an entire group of adults. And to me, who was both in the view of a fan and a newcomer while in the theater, I was sitting there like, is this really what we want to show people that these big 2-ton animatronics can do? Is build a fort with a kid, which it's understandable they're kids, but I would have rather a fort scene come before a go to town on people scene. But like, I mean, no, there's no disrespect to anyone who likes the scene. I get it, but it just was really, really stupid to me as someone who actually loves this movie. And the false sense of security thing, I only half get, but also I didn't think that Mike was still comfortable with them being around Abby in any capacity, even after that. Because the whole time he was building the fort with them, he was giving them like, he was side-eyeing them like every single chance he could, and didn't look comfortable when Abby was next to them each time.
Where I stand on the fort scene, it's a double-ended sword for me because, like you said, Allison, yeah, they're kids. They're just like playing around, just having fun with Abby, just having the fun that they haven't been able to have since they were alive many, many years ago. But then on the other side, I get Peak's side because, yeah, we saw Freddy less than 10 minutes ago slice a human being who was actually innocent above all the group in half. Like, they're brutally murdered.
Funny enough, originally in the script, Max was supposed to get like a redemption, and we were supposed to get a scene with a dog. I'm like, where's the dog?
You see the dog in the truck, like with Max, but then after she's killed, you never see the dog again.
Which makes me hopefully think that maybe Vanessa took the dog in and hopefully did not feed it to Foxy or any of the other animatronics.
Oh, that would be so screwed if that's what happened. Oh,
yeah,
God.
because that's one thing I don't like in a horror movie is, like, it always breaks my heart whenever like a dog or a cat get murdered in a horror movie. It just breaks my heart.
I'm never emotionally attached to a dog in the movie. So if Vanessa did end up feeding the dog to like any of the animatronics or giving it to Afton to do whatever he was going to do with it, I would be indifferent, and I would kind of like that in terms of making it a bit darker. Because there was already a dead dog. There was in FNAF 6. There was already your dog's in the like in the arcade game, where the girl's running around and it's her dead dog.
Yeah, if it's stuff like that, then it works because it's like integrated into the story and how twisted this guy is. After the fort scene, we get to see Mike and Vanessa in the back room, and we learn about the spring locks, which also conveniently has one of the book characters as a spring lock. I've forgotten the name of that book character because I didn't read that book.
Her name's Ella.
Ella, yeah, that's it. And she's like a spring lock suit, just sort of a nod to fans, but it's like, oh, those are spring locks. You know, they were designed to keep the animatronic parts away from the people foreshadowing basically for later on in the movie. We all knew as FNAF
That
fans
scene,
what was gonna
that
be coming from
Springlock scene, literally like confirmed it. If no one was sure about the Springlock scene before the closet scene, that's what
Yeah.
confirmed it for me.
It was good foreshadowing. It's quick. It's like that's what's gonna happen if you mess with those things.
It's kind of
How-
like that scene
and-
from Emperor's New Groove of like, oh yeah, it's all coming together.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together now. Oh yeah. Then after that, we get to see Abby sort of like, just juking out with the animatronics, dancing with Foxy and Chico while Freddy and Bonnie perform on stage, until she accidentally plays Bonnie's guitar and ends up getting electric shock, and she has to go back home early. And Vanessa pulls out like a massive 180 saying, "If you bring Abby back here again, I will shoot you." And I was like, holy shit.
She
Okay.
is not
Wow.
a well-written character. I like her character, but I don't like her writing of a character.
She's better written than Security Breach, so I'll give her that.
But she was just a wiki who didn't know whose side to be on until the end of the movie.
Yeah, and like, I like her in the first half of the movie, and kind of some in the climax. It's around the middle where I'm like kind of iffy on Vanessa, which we'll get to in a bit when we get to the characters section. Michael comes back the next night, only he has Aunt Jane look after Abby because he doesn't have a babysitter anymore. He doesn't want, he wants to be straight with these kids and like let them get into his memory. It's like, all right, you're going to tell me everything I want to know about Garrett. But instead of that, and this is during the day, by the way, Mike is greeted with his family, and he is suddenly in a memory where they are all okay. And Mike's like, this didn't happen. This isn't what happened. But the kids are behind and say, but it could. If you give us Abby, you can have this dream every night with your family together for the rest of your life. Just give us your sister, and we can make that happen for you. Mike says yes at first, because he's just so happy to see Garrett again, but then realizes he doesn't want to lose all that he has left. He's already lost one sibling, he didn't want to lose another, but it's too late. He took the devil up on an offer, and as a result, the animatronics are coming to kill off Mike so that they can have Abby, with Foxy strutting down the hallway. And the kids slash at him in his dream, and he wakes up in the goddamn torture machine. What a fricked up way to wake up. And unlike the last guy, the last guy screwed the bolts out enough for Mike to free himself, only to see all the dead bodies of Max, Jeff, Hank, and Carl, the vandalists from earlier in the film.
Up for him to see that his babysitter was chopped in half and in a suit.
For real. And you can even see Carl's face, like how gnawed out it was from the cupcake
Oh my
biting
God,
him. Like, Jesus.
Like, I couldn't tell who was more gruesome in terms of like what was supposed to be the makeup for dead bodies, if it was Hank or Carl.
The fact that, Max was in friggin' Shadow Freddy of all people seems like
Yeah.
that Max will probably possess Shadow Freddy.
Shadow Man is going to become a lore-relevant character in the movie. Let's
Dude.
go.
Do not ruin
Except
this.
Shadow's gonna be female. I guess Shadow Freddy's female now.
Shadow Freddy's a woman, confirmed.
And that's
gotta
a
change the lore
callback
again.
to the Freddy is a girl theory.
Yes,
you remember
because he was in
FNAF1,
the
he was in
woman's
the
bathroom
women's
in the
bathroom.
first game. God, I remember those old like XX Pro Class gamer theories from back then.
Oh, I guess that is like a little nod to it with Max being in Shadow
That's a
Freddy.
deep cut, but it could be. I guess for
Yeah.
It is a deep
That's
cut,
what
but yeah.
Freddy in the bathroom.
So Mike, being horrified from all this, we're jumping back into the horror of the film now with all the goofy security breach-esque stuff over with. And just before Mike escapes, he narrowly averts Foxy, chasing him down the hallway, once again with the lights flashing over him. And then we cut back to Abby at home. And she's trying to, she's being coaxed out by Aunt Jane, just asking, you can't stay in there forever. Alright, fine. And while she's watching an ad for a Chia Pet, Golden Freddy appears in the room behind her. Oh god.
Can I talk about the scrapped version of that scene for a second?
We were robbed of the scrapped version, we really were.
Mm-hmm.
Where Aunt Jane was, they couldn't add smoking and alcohol, I guess. I didn't know you couldn't do that in a PG movie, 13. But what was supposed to happen is his cigarette was supposed to fill the room with smoke. And in that same area where Golden Freddy was at in the movie, you were supposed to see his eye glow from the smoke. That is a simple but most effective change, I think, that just would have made that scene so much cooler. And you wouldn't even see that it was Freddy at first. You'd be like, what the hell?
And it's like, this is the first time in the whole movie we've seen Golden Freddy as well. And he is gone as quick as he appears, which I guess makes sense. He's not in the original first game for more than 5 seconds. So
the fact that freaking Golden Freddy either karate chopped, like did small karate chop and like little ditto chop to knock out Anne, because it was kind of like speculated that either like 1, the aunt died, or 2, she's just like knocked out. Because
she's confirmed to come back in the second movie, so she's fine.
Yeah, it was confirmed, because if it was that way that Aunt Jane died, then that would look bad on Michael, and Abby would have probably got taken away.
I think in the original script, which had like 20 scenes cut from it, it did mention that Aunt Jane was like, she hasn't, like she's in hospital or something, or in like therapy or something. So something like that. So we know she lived at some point in the original version, so I guess we can use that for now until the sequel comes out to say, yeah, she's fine, she's just, she just doesn't want to be near that house after what happened before. So for all we know, she probably saw the fist of Golden Freddy and was like in shock when it punched her. Who knows?
The Golden Freddy scene is also the first time we've seen an actual animatronic leave the pizzeria and
yes,
choose somewhere else.
Well, because Golden Freddy
is
than the others, because he can roam freely, while the
Golden
others
Freddy's just more goated than the others. I don't know what's up with that kid.
Maybe it's the programming to keep the animatronics inside.
It's either that or he's the first one after Garrett.
Maybe, yeah. Like, I hope they're going for that and they don't just do the whole with a Chica, I was the first thing. Like, make Golden Freddy and the puppet the superior ones, you know? Just don't do the whole, like, UCN lore thing. Do your own thing for the movies, please. We don't need more complicated stuff like that. But, yeah, so Golden Freddy's spirit comes to pick up Abby, and it says, time to go play at Freddy's. And Abby, not really caring about Aunt Jane, but she's a bitch, so who does? They're like, yeah, let's go, but how are we gonna get there? What's going on, YouTube? It's Corey Kenshin here, and welcome to Taxi Simulator. Corey Kenshin shows up in a freaking taxi.
Corey was a hype.
He's like,
edition.
I'm about to pull up. Everybody dying, me included. I ain't going to jail.
It's brilliant. It's like, it was in the trailers as well, and I was like screaming, my younger brother and I, when we reacted to the trailers, like, Corey! Corey Kenshin! It was like an Avengers Endgame moment when he was on screen.
It was great.
I was like expecting like friggin' like, when I first saw the trailer, I was like expecting like Matt Pat, Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, any other YouTuber that I would probably recognize.
His reactions were just priceless as well. The whole taxi scene was priceless, not just because of Corey,
both of
but
Corey's scenes were great.
both of them. Yeah, we'll get to the second one later on, but this one he's like, "Oh, where to, little lady?" And then the taxi just rustles, and he looks around as the Golden Freddy's just standing there. This hulking, massive robot in the backseat,
Which shouldn't be able to fit in there, but
And then Corey's just like, I always get the weirdos.
I just get the weirdos, man. I just love that. Apparently, Corey and Scott are really good friends, so he allowed him the role, and I'm like, oh, that's really nice.
well,
Yeah,
Corey
good.
also helped boost the popularity of the game along with Mark.
He did.
They were the
Yeah. And you want to know something that's a little bit messed up here? And no, please do not go attack this channel, all you little iPad kids. Apparently, there was like some beef with FGTV. Like, apparently like making an edit of himself in the trailer, and I think he said something about Corey stealing his role, which wasn't true.
Yeah, that was just a thing he edited for his reaction specifically, guys. It was just a bit. Don't worry. It wasn't real. It was just some fake, like, funny haha. Oh, he stole my thing. No, he wasn't being serious, guys. It was just a funny. So, but there were iPad kids who went after Corey because they can't think. The younger generation, they don't know how to use their minds properly, so, you know, it was... The future the human race is pretty much screwed in the future. We are the last of the decent generation. The future's... yeah. We're headed for like a dinosaurs ending-esque future with the younger generation when they grow up. Idiots, all of them. Stupid kids! We get to the police supply outpost with Mike and Vanessa. Mike's all patched up. He has to get stitches though because he is badly hurt. And Vanessa basically spills out more wiki lore to Mike, saying like, yes, it's complicated. I knew about the deaths. What do they want with Abby then? They want to make her like them.
She was just kind of like, yeah, Michael, please don't be mad, but the animatronics may or may not want to stuff your sister into a springlock suit to be just like them. And my father, because I am totally hiding a secret that I did not tell you about, that my dad is actually a murderer who murdered the kids and stuffed their bodies in the suits. And yeah, I kind of have this toy of your brothers that my dad gave to me as like little trophy. So yeah, how do you feel, Michael?
Yeah, literally.
It's just something murderers do.
In the movie lore, they change it up, and this definitely says the movie lore is its own thing separate from the books and the games. Vanessa is the daughter of William Afton, which I like, because everyone was like, oh, Mike is obviously going to be the son of William. Get played, boys who thought that was gonna happen.
This is like a different AU that we've seen, and like, I'm just gonna mention this now, like, you know, like when we get to like the little like tidbit of like the what do you call it, the, how do I say, like, you know, how the Silver Eyes and the Fourth Closet was kind of like a little like tidbits, like references to the movie, even though it's its own AU. Like Charlie in the books, we're not looking through her eyes. Get out of the way, Charlie. We love you, but get out of the way. It's Michael's turn. Get in there.
Yeah. And I think it was the best thing to do, because, you know, Mike was the first person we played as in the franchise, so it felt good to have him be the center role of the first movie.
Which, I don't know why that wasn't the first script.
Yeah, right? Like, Scott, come on, this should have been obvious.
I love you, Scott, but you just keep it. Keep it like the first game, and it will do well.
Yeah. Who would have thought paying respect to the source material, it would be a success?
I would also like to point out the fact, off topic the tiniest bit, that the 8-year wait for this movie helped it immensely, since it was off the very first game. And there's like a whole ton of nostalgia value for that, and it's good to see them again after how many years of this complicated, messy bullshit we've been going through for 8 years.
Yeah, to be honest, like, quick side tangent, after Security Breach just utterly killing... I mean, you guys saw my Security Breach review, and how it ultimately killed my faith in the future of the franchise, saying I didn't even want to check out the movie, but I saw it anyway, and seeing the original four, the Freddy, the Bonnie, the Chica, the Foxy that made this franchise, not Glamrock Freddy, not Roxanne, not Burntrap, not Fanny. These guys made FNAF, not those new ones, okay? If anything, those new ones are a disgrace to the franchise, and I'd like to forget they exist. But these guys, I'm glad they were the focus of the film.
I can get your point there, because all the Roxy simps.
Not even just that, it's just the new characters have too much personality in them personally. And
yeah,
they're not
that's
even...
what the animatronics here did so perfectly. They had no personality, they were these clunky, hulking machines of death.
Even the ghost kids didn't have personality, probably because they forgot who they were. That's what I love about it.
That's the problem with all the new FNAF games. They just gave the animatronics personalities. You can do that in, like, fan works, like your Zajku 37 and your Special Strike, and...
If Security Breach was a spin-off, then it would be alright.
Like FNAF World, that is a non-canon spin-off that didn't take itself seriously, but the fact that we're supposed to think Security Breach is canon and it did all that it did completely messed up what FNAF is supposed to be. It lost its identity.
Kind of like ruined with just the whole like, oh, mimic, and it's just like, what about the Burntrap ending? That one seemed the most logical to be canon, at least to ruin. But they're like, nah, Quest.
Honestly, but it looks like this movie has sort of fixed the faith in the franchise that the older fans have and kind of lost after that stuff came out. It's like, there is hope. For the movies, at least, there is hope.
You want to know something funny, though, if I may point it out? Like, most of the critics were, like saying, like, oh, the movie was bad. And all they wanted it to just be was just, like, the FNAF 1 game with just, like, looking at cameras, looking left and right. And I'm like, how are you going to turn that into a movie?
I know how you critics can enjoy that. Search up on YouTube, Five Nights at Freddy's 1 full gameplay, no commentary, and look for about an hour and 10-minute video. There's your movie. Enjoy!
Yeah.
Go and watch that. Put it on your TV and just stare at it.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. While I do believe that some critics did say that, which was stupid, especially IGN, there were some critics who I read and they were like, the story is messy, not a lot is explained, these guys aren't scary. And I totally get that. I agree with it even. The side of me who was trying to watch a movie, I'm sitting here like, I get it. But the guy behind me who's 70 years old and just wanted to watch a horror movie, how is this helping him understand what's going on?
Yeah. I mean, like, even though this is probably, like, the movies are, like, the simplest way to tell the FNAF story, it is still a little messy in places. I hope that the sequels will clean that up, sort of be like a FNAF movie 2 will be like, cleaning up the mess the first movie made, the chickens coming home to roost, I suppose. That's what I hope the second movie's gonna be. Because they are rewriting the movie a little bit for the criticisms that the first one got, and I appreciate that.
And they're gonna start filming in 3 months. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
And what's like satisfying is the fact that we may be getting like more horror like we wanted, instead of just like having it be PG-13 for all the little
They
kittens.
did confirm that, yes. That there would
They
be
did,
more
yeah.
horror elements in the second movie, which we need.
So, let's get back to the story then. Sorry about that tangent, guys. We just wanted to get that out. So, Mike goes back to Freddy's and sneaks in while Abby is being lured to the back room by Chica, and gets past Freddy and Bonnie by soaking the stage and electrocuting it with a taser that Vanessa gave him. And Vanessa stayed behind because she's pissed scared of her dad showing up.
Can I point out something really quick? You know, in the scene where Mike goes to sneak in the pizzeria, and like Bonnie, if you like look very closely, if you pay attention to Bonnie, he was the first one to notice Mike. And like if you like see him like rapidly playing his guitar, it's like Bonnie is like trying to get Freddy's attention until it's like,
yeah, he's trying to like position his hand to Freddy. It's like, it's right here, it's right here, it's right
like,
there.
I brought back some takeout. Like, it's Shredder. Where?
Hey, look, it's Mike. Where? I don't see him.
And then like Bonnie and Freddy befell their fates and get electrocuted.
It was kind of
So
funny
I could
that
feel Bonnie at that moment being like, I told you, you dumbass. I'm sorry.
I did kind of like that scene. Like, if there were any like personality given to him in this movie, that was the most, and I kind of liked that.
Yeah, just like Bonnie.
Because I also
like,
did see the anger in Freddy's face when he turned back to Bonnie. Like, the fuck are you talking about? There's no one here.
So, what are you saying? You're crazy, Rabbit.
Bonnie's just like, look over there, you dumb ass.
But of course, it ends up being a failed attempt, and they get electrocuted, and Mike ends up running around the back and saving Abby just in time before she's spring-locked and electrocutes the hell out of Chica's eyeballs. And they try to make a great escape, but the cupcake is like, chow time, murder time.
Can I call back to the old script of the movie real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he's pointing the taser at her, and this is the only thing I'm glad that was cut from the movie. He's pointing the taser at her, bursting through the door, and he's like, you get away from her, you chicken.
Oh, come on. That's so corny. God damn it. Well, at least that wasn't in the movie, yeah. Get away from her, you chicken.
It was either you chicken or you bird.
I think she would have a face of disappointment if Michael ever said that they ever kept
That's
that.
something I want
Okay,
to
now
talk about.
now you deserve to die, because that was a terrible insult, Mike. While Mike is trying to fight off the cupcake, Abby runs off to the arcade to hide, but da-da-dum-dum-dum, we get a Silver Eyes scene with Foxy, and the transition of the kid watching Foxy, or watching Abby, the kid that possesses Foxy walks back into the curtains and outsteps the animatronic of Foxy, and I'm like, that is a really cool transition. I love that.
That was a badass moment for Foxy.
That was clean as hell. Once the cupcake is taken out by Mike, we do get a major inspired like opening of Silver Eyes scene where Abby is hiding behind the arcades, and it's just this slow 1.5-minute scene of Foxy just walking past the arcades, and as he walks past them they turn on next to him. That's really cool. It was kind of like it reminded me of Giffany from Gravity Falls when she turns on all the arcade machines and she riles down them. It's just that kind of vibe. I love it. It's so good.
That scene was definitely the most like tense animatronic searching for the protagonist, I guess, scene in the movie, I think.
Once we think Foxy's found her, Abby is... she's not behind the arcades anymore. She's gone into the pits! Oh my god! Into the pits!
It's just like
reference
Taco.
What's going on, guys? Dorko back again.
We didn't even talk about the Employees of the Month board.
Oh yeah, there's like Fusion, Dorko, Raz, 8-Bit Ryan, Baz, I think, was on there as well. There's DJ Staff, I think, is on there.
Oh,
That's
DJ right.
Staff?
Yes, DJ Staff was on there.
Yeah, they got a bunch of cameos on like the Employee of the Month.
Yeah.
You could see it in full detail in their behind the scenes on the set, which is really cool that they got to go on the set of the FNAF movie.
Was.
That was nice.
That was the most personality they gave the animatronics. Wasn't even in the movie. Good.
But then after that, of course, Mike tries to go out into the open area to find Abby, only to hear footsteps coming from the front area, which ends up being, oh my god, it's William Afton! Oh my god! Oh my god! And he's in the Spring Bonnie suit, and it looks so freaking good.
That was my theater's reaction to that.
Yeah.
We
It wasn't, like-
all cheered. We were clapping for him. That was honestly a badass way to get him in. It was simple. He just walked in a goofy way, but I think the music accompanying that and the fact we know who that is made him seem like this was the final boss coming in to fuck things up.
Just so good, man.
It was
And
really good.
he ends up completely folding Mike as well, which just looks like just like he like rugby charges the guy like
Like the high schooler pushing this, it's like a high schooler pushing a nerdy middle schooler.
It kind of reminds me of like if someone better make a meme out of this. Someone better. Just like the whole scene in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs when Earl was chasing Flynn like Flintlock Wood. It's just like that.
Flintlock Wood. Meanwhile, Foxy, while just about to grab Abby, Vanessa jumps in and tases him and saves Abby at the last second. And that's pretty much all that happens for those two. Back to Afton. Now Foxy's out of commission. Bonnie, Chica, Freddy, all the animatronics. It's just William now. And we get the famous line of, "First I killed your brother, now I kill you. Skibbity, my friend!" I'm
That's
sorry,
not
I
what
had
he
to do
said.
it. I had to
Yeah,
do it.
that's not what he said, you goofy.
I'm sorry, I had to do the funny meme.
You're fine, you're fine. We're
But
I
good.
heard it too much when I had animated it, and I did that to myself.
Mike gets literally, like, again, kicked in the face by, this suit. How is it this strong? It's just a fursuit with robotics in it.
His face not broken by that, or his neck not broken with that kick. He like Falcon kicked
Something
him.
broke him because he literally did a full 360.
He did a
in
full
the air.
360 and got knocked out for, like, 2 minutes.
Is Michael immortal? Is Michael a robot? MatPat, get on that! Oh wait, MatPat's not here.
MatPat, come on. Oh, wait, no, he's retired. Oh, man.
Oh man,
Tom, it's your turn. You're supposed to take over now. You do it.
British bastard, help
The
us!
Foxy toes.
Yeah, after that, the animatronics wake back up from the call of William, which, yeah, basically confirms he has control over these things, or at least whenever he's near the premises. And all the animatronics come back to life and all corner the area. And a knife is pulled out, Scream style. Here we go, we reconnected it back to Scream. And just before Mike gets... Vanessa comes out with a gun! She's gonna shoot her dad! And of course the mask comes off and we see, hey, it's Shaggy! Hey Shaggy, how you doing?
And William's just like,
Yay, Stu.
William literally said this, you ain't gonna shoot your own dad. You ain't gonna, it's like that King Candy scene in Wreck-It Ralph. You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses. Hits the guy with glasses. Guy with glasses, so yeah.
You wouldn't shoot your damn dad.
We both know you're not gonna use it. You got me! Oh.
Like, that shot should have done those spring locks in. You cannot tell me that.
That's what I was
Like,
gonna say.
Right? For
That the spring locks managed to survive a gunshot, a lot of motion, kicking someone, but a cupcake eating through the top layer set them off.
Exactly. A taser? No. A gun?
No, not a taser either, which I feel like that would have been the first blow.
Yeah, not even a taser from Mike was able to activate the spring locks. Like,
Exactly.
how is...
Someone better make a meme of this, like, you know, with just like the thing from Cusco with the guy, like, you know, putting his hands up, like, yeah, that's good stuff. With like just the
Yeah,
cupcake,
that's good stuff.
just like the taser. No, that didn't work. The gun, no, that didn't set off Springlocks. Cupcake, yes.
It's just like, it's not until Chica just says, "Have cake, motherfucker," does he actually die.
Chica literally said this. Sick 'em.
Ralph, sick him! God.
Cupcake, sick 'em.
Abby comes out to check on Mike, and while the "that's two things" joke comes up for the second time, because that happened earlier in a meeting at the movie at the start with Mike and William. Vanessa says it again, and Mike is just like, "You know, I've heard that too many times this week. Shut the fuck up." And Abby is told by Mike to do a drawing of what happened to the children, because that drawing that we see before the title scene in the center of the drawing area on the wall, that basically influences how the children see the yellow rabbit. So, and that's a whole thing of, like, with kids in the movie series, like, pictures hold power for children. So it's redrawn to be of the yellow rabbit not holding the hands of the kids, but brutally stabbing them with a big scary knife. And after this, the lights go out, the lights are shone on Afton, and the animatronics are like,
We forgot to mention that Vanessa was stabbed by her
oh
own...
yeah, Vanessa got stabbed.
Yeah.
Poor Vanessa, she got shanked.
We also
Honestly,
forgot to mention how important the pictures were.
If I could be real on
Oh,
that scene for a moment, when William stabbed Vanessa, I did not expect that.
Neither did I.
I got spoiled of that.
You got spoiled of that?
I got spoiled of the two biggest scenes, which I guess I get one biggest scene, which was one of them was the stabbing thing and her saying "dad," and the second one I didn't watch the video, but the day it was the 25th. It was when you got the movie before, so this is your guys' fault. It was the first video on my YouTube. FNAF movie spoilers Springlock scene.
Oh, come on, UK. You serious? Not even you guys are that pointlessly... No, it's not. You guys are that pointlessly cruel in the UK. God damn it. Come on, guys. Are you serious?
You guys also had a fight in your theater. Somewhere.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Yeah, I heard about that.
UK, I'm talking to you here, United Kingdom. You guys suck. I mean, not me, because I didn't spoil anything for anybody, but the rest of you all stink. Except you, Ghost.
Looking at William's face when he did that, he just felt like, he's like, oh shit, I just stabbed my kid. Like, his face looked sad.
Yeah.
Then
he has like remorse for a second.
Remorse.
Like, he's just like, oh
Just
shit,
a
I just
second.
killed my child. And then he immediately, like, changes, like, personality. Like, he's like, well, I could just probably William's mindset was just probably like, oh yeah, I could just probably bring her back in a suit.
Yeah, and then he goes to attack Abby, but it's too late. The picture's up, and the animatronics look at the picture, and they remember now. Those kids remember who killed them, and they turn their attention from Abby to William. And even when William notices this and starts walking towards Abby, Foxy steps in the way in between Abby and William and just stares him down. And things are not looking good. They start crowding him, and he starts mocking them, telling them how worthless and disgusting children they are and what they've become. But they're not buying his insults anymore. They're not afraid. And Cupcake jumps out, and the Springlocks are activated. And we get our Springlock scene. Allison, what did you think of the Springlock scene, like, in full detail?
In my opinion, it was okay. I wish we could have heard him scream at least when he was, like, getting Springlocks, but I guess in a way I could get it because, like, the Springlocks would have, like, punctured everywhere, probably including his lungs, which probably would have let him, like, say his one, like, saying, like, I always come back, because that would actually be probably accurate, because the Springlocks would have punctured his throat pipe so he wouldn't be able to scream, which would be honestly terrifying, like, imagining not screaming. I guess in that way, either way, the scene was good as, like, a little nod to the Silver Eyes when Freddy and the gang just, like, grab William, they carry him away, and no, Freddy and William did not get married. No, dude, get your mind out of the gutter. But honestly, it was a good scene overall. It was good. I would just wish there was screaming from William, like, while he was, like, getting Springlocked, but the twitching, like, kind of, like, I guess fixed that. It worked overall.
What did you think, Pick, in full detail?
For me, the Springlock scene did exactly what it needed to do well. I did want a little bit more screaming, and I did didn't really like. It was the cupcake that set it off. But him slowly getting punctured and stabbed, which, by the way, rigid mechanical parts not only stabbing you, but moving further inside of you momentarily after, was very gruesome to think about. So I will say it's more of an imaginary thing for your how gruesome the scene was.
Yeah, because it's like, I think this is meant to be a thing of like our minds tending to make things scarier than they actually are.
Yeah, which was kind of what FNAF was all about in the first place. It was usually left to you filling in the blanks, and that was the scary part. But him getting punctured, him falling to the ground, him making his goofy ass cartoon like gasping noises, and then him saying his line.
I always come back.
Him saying his line was two things to me. One, it sounded cheesy, but it also made a bit of sense, considering he still killed them in the Yellow Rabbit suit, and he probably still came up to check on them in the Yellow Rabbit suit. It was the Yellow Rabbit who were their friends. It wasn't Steve. It was Afton in the rabbit suit. And him telling him that they'll come back now, them knowing what he did to them, was probably like trying to rub salt in their room or whatever it may have been.
Yeah, it's like, you may have defeated me, but this is not the end of your suffering. I will live on, and you will too in those suits.
And then him putting on the mask to just embrace the fact he's just becoming the animatronic now. He's accepted that.
Because he knows what's going to happen, because it happened to the kids. He knows he can get a second chance. Even if it is painful to live, he'll get another chance. Yeah.
And him getting dragged away felt satisfying. I also heard it was funny hearing him grunt as he was getting dragged away and twitching. Yeah. That one I actually could feel was kind of painful, because he's got a hook in his arm dragging him right now. So
my thoughts on the Springlock scene are basically the same as you guys. Like, I even did an edit on the FNAF movie, which I did upload a while ago, of there being screaming from behind the mask after he put it back on. Like, as soon as you can hear the wires, you could just hear a clap and him screaming from the inside, just muffled. But yeah, I think it was mostly executed well, and I think the Paranormal Activity of, like, maybe it was even Golden Freddy who did it, like, ripping apart the restaurant, basically blocking out any exits and wrecking the place, making it look abandoned so no one would come back to find him. Was a really good touch as well. Just seeing all the, like, glass holding the merchandise smashing, the roof caving in as Mike and Vanessa and Abby escaped, and the animatronics, like you said, book reference, dragging him away. Yeah, and he absolutely deserved it. Like, I didn't feel bad for him in the slightest, knowing, you know, for some reason it hits harder watching the movie, just knowing this man killed 5 innocent children.
Because you see it all play out in front of you in full detail, instead of mini games or text. You see it all happening. And Freddy's scream, by the way.
I was just about to say, yeah, Freddy's scream. It's like, some people say it's a scream of victory. I like to think it's a scream of agony. It's like, this guy, we've been friends with him for years, and it was him the whole time. How could you do this to us?
It was a scream of realizing you were betrayed by someone you thought was protecting you for however, 30 years by this movie? No, 20. I didn't think about it when I was in the theater. I just kind of laughed at it because I wasn't expecting Freddy to just screech.
It just, especially all the meme edits that came from that, just
Oh.
You want to know what I find funny? Like, after, like, this was, like, a big thing I wanted to talk about ever since the trailer, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
When the first trailer came out, everyone got pissed about the red eyes, or people would have
the red eyes, yeah.
And
it was in the movie for 5 seconds, you morons.
Yeah,
God damn, you got upset over nothing.
That it was in the movie for like 5 seconds when all their eyes turn red, and I'm like, Scott, you clever son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I devil's advocate a bit here again. I did understand the hatred towards those red eyes in terms of when the teaser came out. Because when the teaser came out, there wasn't much shown, and the only bit of the animatronics that was shown was Freddy standing behind Mike for 1 second, and then their red eyes looking down. And even, like, I didn't mind it, but even I was like, that's a little goofy. I don't like that too much, but it's not going to ruin the movie for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, even if it only appeared for 5 seconds and they were specifically used to stare at Afton dying and like their hatred towards him, I'm okay with their eyes being red.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very clever for
That was
Scott to do.
definitely them like showing that these were their like they were at their most angry and hurt, the animatronics.
Yeah, it just like slap in the back knowing that they were betrayed by the thing that they thought that was their friend.
And they made him pay for sure. So after that scene, we get to see that Abby and Mike are okay. Abby's doing much better at school now. Aunt Jane doesn't seem to be a problem, at least not for now anymore. And Mike's feeling a lot better about himself. He's less of a douche. But Vanessa is in kind of... She's in bad condition, but she's in the hospital and she is alive. Presumably in a coma for now.
She's in UCN.
She's just talking to the ghost children, probably playing Uno.
I feel like the ghost children will understand that Vanessa wasn't bad. Because the only one in the fault of the picture was the yellow rabbit. I feel like they'll understand that.
I mean, they'll
Abby and
be a
Mike
little
and Vanessa
mad
are
at
good.
her if we're thinking logically. If they put pieces together, they'll find out
she
that
did know.
She
knew the whole
she
time.
knew everything, and she was helping Afton cover it up, and they will be mad at her for that if they know about that.
Yeah, but I guess I think Abby would
her, at least.
I feel like in the second movie, I feel like if they do figure that out, that Vanessa's the daughter of William, I think Abby would try to get them to understand where Vanessa came from, because William was like manipulating her and like forcing her to do this, even though Vanessa didn't want to, but she was kind of forced into this situation, even though she didn't want to. But she had no choice.
Yeah. Abby asks if they can go back to see the animatronics sometime, and Mike says, "You know what? We'll wait for a sequel. You never know what could happen." Right, yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
We'll wait, yeah.
But only not a sequel.
Come on, we know this is going to get a sequel. We saw how well it did.
We thought the script that there was going to
Yeah,
be
it
3.
doesn't matter how bad it
You
is.
ain't clever. There's going to be 3 movies. You ain't clever.
Scott does want a trilogy, so there's at least going to be.
He does. Ending off the movie, we get to see Afton writhing in agony and being stared down in anger by Golden Freddy's spirit. And Afton actually reaches out an arm, is like, "Please help me." And the kid's just like, "Fuck you," and slams the door in his face.
That was a
and then the best credits like of the Living Tombstone. One song.
Vanessa Freddy's, that's where I want to be, Vanessa Freddy's.
I was just like overhyped with the excitement, and then we cut to a cutscene with Corey Kenshin in a taxi, just minding his own business, just sleeping. And then, oh boy, the character I hate the most in FNAF. Oh, I hate him with every fiber of my being.
We never talked about him either.
Balloon
No,
Boy
okay.
jump scares him. Balloon Boy jump scares Corey.
Yeah, Balloon Boy jump scares Corey. And
then,
yeah, we neglected to talk about this multiple times throughout the film.
Yeah,
a little Balloon Boy statue gets jump scares.
Oh, Balloon Boy
Nobody
figurine.
likes Balloon
I'm
Boy.
amazed that isn't merch, I'll be honest.
Yeah. When I first heard the Father Clock song played during the ending credits, when it played the secret message of "Come Find Me," I instantly got shivers when I heard the grandfather.
Yeah, they did the like
box
Atari.
song, by the way.
Yeah, the music box song. They did the Atari "Come Find Me" stuff. That was really cool. I like that. It's the puppet. It's Garrett telling Mike to come and find him. You know.
Yeah, I just instantly got shivers. Like, I'm getting shivers right now just talking about it.
That's basically the movie in a nutshell, ending off with Living Tombstone and the music box. So, before we get into the production, like the music and all that, and all the set design, the animatronics, let's talk about the characters real quick. Specifically the main ones, like Mike, Vanessa, Abby, William, and the animatronics.
Can I bring up my 2 points real quick I had saved in my mind from earlier?
Yeah, if at peak, yeah, you go first.
I guess it has things to do with the characters, but it's more of how the movie portrayed them. In terms of the actual animatronics, to me, they didn't have a lot of emotion, but they still had too much emotion to where, like, they were squinting, they were looking angry, and I didn't like that. That's something I will say. The first game portrayed them as lifeless husks trying to come for you in the office and stuff you into a suit which will kill you immediately and just dismember your body. And so, looking at them through the cameras, they were creepy in the fact that they were in darkly lit rooms and they had no life behind them, but they were moving and they were alive. And that's what I thought was the scariest part of FNAF 1 since I played it. But watching this movie, I found myself more like giggling at the fact that like when Chica was looking at Hank through the window, she's squinting at him with the stupid beak open. Bonnie was emotionless. Bonnie was kind of fine. Freddy had like suspicious looks all the time, and Foxy was just mad all the time. That's something I didn't 100% like.
I can understand that. And the cupcake was just
and the cupcake
also like Chica squinting and
rabid. The cupcake, no comment on the cupcake.
The cupcake.
What about the human characters? What do you have to think about them?
The human characters, 3/4 of them were good, really good. Josh carried his role. I really like Josh Hutcherson as Mike. He was great. I want to kiss Josh Hutcherson. In terms of Matthew Lillard, I wanted to see more of him. But what we did get of him, I thought he still played pretty well. He was off, and that's what I wanted. And he was a big bad bully when he came in.
Yeah,
at the pizzeria.
He does his job good. He does his job good.
He does his job good. Matthew Lillard is just a good actor all around. I love movies he's in.
He's a very wholesome guy. He's a very wholesome guy.
Very. I want to meet him. Vanessa, I already said my opinion about Vanessa. She's all over the place. Who else? Abby's a really good actor. The kids in this movie are surprisingly well acted for being kids. I was impressed by it. Abby did good. Golden Freddy Kid did good. The 4 other guys were just good at standing there, I guess. They were all good. I liked them all. The YouTubers did good. MadPad was funny. Corey was funny. Markiplier probably would have been. No comment on Markiplier.
He would have been funny, but that would have been the problem, being a serious scene for the first part of the movie.
Yeah, which I'm sure Mark would have acted well. We've seen him act, and he's a good actor. I'm excited to see him in Iron
In space with Markiplier, after all. That was pretty fun.
And it's going to be cool to see the fact that he's playing the protagonist in a horror movie. So we're gonna see what he probably would have acted like in the FNAF movie.
Yeah, because
being in a situation like that. Jane, I will say real quick, she's just some big goofy bad guy you'd see in a Looney Tune to me. She was fine. I didn't like her that much, not because she played a role well and being annoying, mostly just because her character it didn't make a lot of sense to me.
Allison, what did you think of the main human cast and the animatronics?
I'll start off with the human characters before I get into the animatronics. Michael, I kind of have mixed emotions about him. Josh Hutcherson, he played in the Hunger Games. He did phenomenal in the Hunger Games. And in the movie, he did phenomenal. The one thing I didn't like about Michael, though, was his selfishness. Sorry if I say that wrong. My brain. Selfishness. Because he basically sold Abby to the kids, even basically to William. Like, even though the kids were practically being mind controlled by William. And like, Michael wasn't like, I know he wasn't thinking, but that still doesn't give him the excuse to basically sell his sister to killer robots. But overall, he had his redemption. He still cares for his sister. He had his redemption. Abby, she was okay. I liked her. The actress who did her did phenomenal. Chef kiss, and it just kind of, the kid kind of, her attitude with like being all creepy and whatnot and not being sociable kind of reminded me of this horror movie my sister watched called The Babadook. The kid in there was very highly annoying, where it's to the point where I wanted to kick the kid, which I know is wrong. You don't kick kids unless it's necessary. Bad life lesson there, moment. But overall, Abby was good. She helped the animatronics realize who their killer really is. She's overall a good person. Oh boy, Vanessa. Vanessa, I feel bad for her because she was manipulated into keeping all this a secret, and the fact that she's a police officer instantly reminded me of like the whole corrupted cop thing in Willy's Wonderland, where I'm pretty sure she just kind of pulled it off of like saying like, oh, the killer got away, so he's probably still out there kind of moment, or killer's dead or something like that, to keep her dad hidden in the shadows. But she does like have her redemption as well, to both protect Abby, Michael, and the animatronics all together, even though she had to shock Foxy, which I'm pretty sure probably broke her, because I'm pretty sure I don't know why, I could already see this, like she just looks at them as like her children, or just like her like siblings. Like she likes to hang around with them. She knows that they're alive. And overall, Vanessa's a good person. I hope she comes back in the sequel, hopefully not trying to be manipulated again by William. And Aunt Jane, she could go screw off. She could go screw off, because I did not like her for trying to, say that Michael's just like a disappointment who, I mean, she is right on one point though, that Michael cannot take care of Abby. I do agree on that. And he's right on that Michael isn't like mentally prepared to take care of Abby, but that like changes over the course. So Aunt Jane just kind of disappears, like a dad going for the milk. Now for like the animatronics, Bonnie, however, people would like Scott and the staff said that Bonnie is the most aggressive. And me watching the movie throughout, I'm just like, how is he aggressive? He's just acting like...
Nah, bro, like Cupcake takes that cake.
That's the one time I'll say that was the closest thing they had to false advertising. Because he killed one person and then fell off a chair.
Like, Bonnie's just a little goober overall. That's just like, at least in my opinion. Foxy, him and Cupcake were out for blood. There's no doubt in that. Like, Foxy kind of reminds me, like, not only in the games and in the movie, Foxy always kind of reminded me of the 2012 version of Raphael in the TMA with his anger issues.
That's a very fair way of describing it.
It's just the anger issues for me that kind of reminds me of Raph with Foxy in the movie. He was overall great. The team did great with him, even though he didn't have a suit actor. It was just all animatronic. The people did amazing with Foxy. Chica, however, she's my girl. She even though she didn't get to really body everyone, she just kind of used the Cupcake to do that work. Even though she almost got a body whenever she was like luring Abby to her new home of being Springlock. She's just a wholesome little sweetie. We love her. Freddy, he was just hungry. He was a hungry little boy that gave Michael suspicious looks. He's like, what are you doing over there? Get out of my house. I think the movie, how they portrayed William, was kind of like how they did in the books and somewhat in the games. Just like William being this like sadistic, mean man who has no sympathy for others other than, the stab scene when William stabbed Vanessa. That look of remorse just made me want to cry for William, knowing the fact that he stabbed his own blood. And that look on his face, just like, he's just like realizing like, oh shit, I just stabbed my own child. What do I do? And then he just like immediately changes his expression to like getting back to what he needed to do, because I think in his mind he kind of figured like, hey, I could just bring back Vanessa, just stuff her in a suit, she'll be fine. but I think he portrayed him fine. I think he was his good old sadistic, loving, murdering children self.
I think where I stand on the characters and the actors, Josh Hutcherson, Mike did a fantastic job. He was honestly like, I'm glad he wasn't just some massive, huge celebrity role like we've been getting for a lot of video game movies recently. He has the experience of just these kind of dark and dreary, eerie places. So I feel like he was perfect for this kind of role, just a early 20s or early 30s kind of guy.
I think it's because Josh Hutcherson, just in the way he looks alone, even to me, like, I know he's some big name actor in some way. Hunger Games. He was in some other movies this year. One was like 53 Seconds or something like that. I think he's a perfect actor because he is the most like average Joe Schmo guy you can find in an actor. And that's what you needed for Mike Schmidt.
And somehow he fits. You know, Joe Schmo off the street just fit perfectly for this role. Vanessa, I agree with the majority. She feels like a FNAF wiki in movie form. She does feel like a FNAF wiki for the first and third half of the movie, she felt like a wiki. No, mostly just the middle bit, she felt like a FNAF wiki. But she felt like a helping asset at the end of the film. And yeah, even though in her first scene she felt like a wiki, she still felt like a character of some sort. Hopefully they'll clear her up for the sequel. Abby, she's really good for a child actress. You know, there's a lot of child actors out there nowadays who are just god awful and are like, I'm just a little child. No, Abby, she's just like, yeah, she's a kid, but she doesn't play up the hammer or anything. She's just like enjoying her time with these animatronics as a kid would. She doesn't think about like the ghosts and stuff that could be in there. They just look like lovable machines and stuff. They're fun little. It's a fun bear, a goofy rabbit, a singing chicken, a pirate fox. She's just having fun with them. Matthew Lillard, he knows exactly what kind of movie he's in. He knows who the movie's made for. And even though we didn't get much with him, he's just having a ball with his scenes, especially in the climax in that spring Bonnie suit. Which is pretty impressive considering how in the behind the scenes he said he couldn't see out of the suit because the jaw of the suit was like covering his eyes. So Emma Tammy had to give him like directions and stuff of where to go. And I think he nailed it, honestly. And the Springlock scene as well, like the way he was sweating and his facial expressions and the sounds he made just felt so perfect and so appropriate for how a realistic Springlock scene would play out. The others, like the Vandalists, Aunt Jane, the YouTuber cameos, they did good. They were exactly just the kind of characters they needed to be. Doug was probably my favorite side character because of how just skitterish she was the whole time. So, oh, I shouldn't be here. That was just funny to me, just every time. And Aunt Jane just being like, sit down, Doug.
I just want to point out, Doug's a fucking creep in the novel.
He is. Like, let's not go into detail why though. I want to keep monetized.
Yeah,
I want to stay monetized.
I read those pages yesterday. I'm like, what the hell?
The animatronics, their personalities, or what the kids specifically, the animatronics having kind of like facial expressions that aren't just blank, I did have kind of a problem with, like the squinting and the eyebrows and all that stuff. But other than that, the kids in the suits were good, especially the Golden Freddy kid being like the leader of them, and even like that little smirk he had when Mike agreed to give him Abby, that was sinister. I liked that. I guess with that we can move on to the production, which is the animatronics, specifically the like actual robotic movement stuff, the behind the scenes Jim Henson stuff, the music of the movie, like the soundtrack, and things like that, set design. Let's start with you, Allison. What did you think of the set design, the animatronics, and the music? I
think it was all well done. Everyone that, helped with the animatronics, the costumes, the soundtrack did amazing. It was the whole, music, just, especially the main theme of, the beginning of the movie with the whole 8-bit sequence. The first scene of the movie with, the main title of it just kind of brought me back to, it's been so long, in the beginning of the credits. The singers who of the first song did phenomenal. All the soundtracks are just amazing, especially the Yellow Rabbit. It just feels so menacing. Just even though his goofy like quip said of like his goofy little of William's goofy little walk, the soundtrack like held up for that of like kind of being like a menacing sequence. The animatronics, just like you said, Tag, oh, they just, I wanted to cry when I saw them. I bet Daco Razbowski and 8-Bit Ryan wanted to cry when they saw the animatronics too, because they felt like they were just plucked right out of the movie. It was amazing.
I agree. The soundtrack is like, I listen to the soundtrack quite often with and I'll likely be doing the same while I'm editing this review. It's just, there is a certain lightness to the soundtrack that just feels so at home with Five Nights at Freddy's, especially sneaking in some of the ambience in there as well, which was really clever. The animatronics, need I mention, again, Jim Henson, to no one's surprise, knocking it out of the park with how well they designed these things. They obviously took very obscure reference to the first game, making sure that everything was as accurate as possible. You remember how much people even complained though when the statue, the glowing up sign outside of Freddy's had gloves, and everyone was like, why does Freddy have gloves? Oh, this is so wrong, change it! It's like, guys, it's a sign. It's not the animatronic. Does that mean Freddy's gonna have gloves? You watch his first trailer, he doesn't have gloves. They know what they're doing, guys, come on.
Chuck E. Cheese had gloves on the sign,
they're not gonna mess
but
this
Chucky
up.
doesn't have gloves. That's all I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to know?
And
No, I'm being a little bit nitpicky about this. Like, you know how we were just talking about the soundtrack? There was one thing I wish Freddy would have done. Like, you know, whenever
the Toreador March.
Power out,
Yeah,
Toreador.
The Toreador.
I wish he would have
That
done
is
that.
something I wanted.
It's so funny.
I do
It
have a
was
few
just
comments.
so funny. Or like the little nose honk.
Well-
Abby just like discovers like Freddy's nose for a honk, or just figures out his like little music box, and just like Freddy just sits down and just casually plays it as like a little lullaby for Abby. That would have been cool.
The set design. It was the map for the FAF location was entirely different from the first game. It wasn't just the same map, it's just in live action. It's an entirely different setting, and I like that. It gives them more creative freedom. Again, in establishing this as a whole separate canon from the games and the books. It's all different. And yeah, I like the additions to the map. Like, Pirate's Cove isn't really a Pirate's Cove, it's just a second stage right next to the main one. They actually have a backstage, it's behind the stage this time, the parts and service room. And stuff like the torture machine was an original concept for this movie. I'd say, along with the scooper, the torture machine is one of the most gruesome ways to die in the FNAF series. Yeah, overall, the production, the animatronics, the music, the set design, it's like, it's got everything we love about FNAF, but with some extra stuff sprinkled in. Like, we got the tiles on the floor and the walls and stuff, you know, the stage with the FNAF characters and the hallways to run down and the flickering lights in the hall. But you've also got like an arcade area, and here's a prize corner from FNAF 2. It's basically bringing in... There's something that this movie did. It brought everything we loved about Five Nights at Freddy's and shoved it all into one movie. And somehow it doesn't feel crammed. It doesn't feel forced at all. What did you think, Pick, about the production of the film?
What were the 3 bullet points again? Set design, music, and
Set design, music, and the puppetry sort of the animatronics.
Okay, so in terms of set design, I don't think they could have done it any better. It was a spin on the original map, but the original map definitely wouldn't have worked for the movie. So I'm glad they had a different take on it, and I like it a lot more. It feels much more like a pizzeria arcade where the kids can go play. I would believe it, and we saw it a bit, mostly in the marketing instead of the actual movie, which kind of sucked for me. But yeah, other than that, the rooms made a bit more sense this time. Foxy was closer to the main stage, and all around it was a great set. All the other sets were pretty good too, the houses and the Sparky's Diner. In terms of music, I could go on about the music for hours, because I love digging into the music side of things and seeing what they use, and just the beginning theme, I call it. I consider it the theme of Five Nights at Freddy's now, was that intro. It honestly made me like it sent a bit of chills. The fact that it was children singing a choir for the theme of Five Nights at Freddy's, watching them get murdered one by one, and even that it did. Funny thing, it didn't even set into me that I was finally in a theater watching Five Nights at Freddy's until the title like showed up after the song. I was really hyped after that. I was like, holy shit, we're in here now.
And it's got some like cool 80s like
yeah, it's got 80s things
what is it, like soundtrack, and it's even got the 8-bit stuff towards the end as well, which is nice.
Yeah, I love the 80s aesthetic. I love 80s music, so the 80s aesthetic was pretty good. The arcade sounds in some points. The FNAF ambience was cool in some of them. FNAF 1 ambience, some FNAF 4 I thought I heard. The music used in most of Afton's scenes, I think, second to the main title, were highlights of the soundtrack, because the music really amped up like the horns and the children choirs, and just made Afton feel like he was the boss battle of the movie, and I really liked that, especially during the springlock scene when he was getting springlocked. That music, the music made, and
it just plays like it played the main title sequence when the animatronics realized what had happened. That was cool, and it's like when the choir started singing, I was like, they know it's time to close in.
That was kind of the highlight of the movie for me, honestly, because I just love listening to music and seeing how they make a scene. So the low trumpets, the horns, the tubas, and along with the higher pitched children choir mixed really well.
Kind of reminds me of a good soundtrack from like the Mario movie.
Yeah, Mario movie had an amazing soundtrack, by the way. And the puppetry for the movie, I thought was just as impressive as everything else, considering they were human actors at least half the time they were normal animatronics. And the human actors,
except for Foxy, he was an animatronic through the whole movie.
Was definitely a impressive feat, probably for Jim Henson as a whole. For the creature shop,
because they're not a stranger to this kind of stuff, though, because it was like 10 people operating Foxy.
Oh yeah.
Another movie, I want to call this out, that Jim Henson Company did was a movie called Little Shop of Horrors, which was an adaptation of a stage show of the original movie from the 60s or something, I think.
It was.
And for the puppet of the plant called Audrey 2, when it was at its biggest size, it had 50 people operating it, but the lip syncing was so advanced that they had to do it in slow-mo in real time, and the actors had to move slow enough so it wouldn't look sped up when they did that in post-production. And it's just so impressive to see them do that. So they're obviously not, and this is Foxy's movement for 10 people at a time is easy compared to the 50 people that had to puppet.
I didn't actually know that. I haven't watched Little Creature Shops or whatever it's called. I
or
do plan on that though.
Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
Here's another thing that I'm gonna bring up here, and that includes animatronic puppetry. Is take for instance the Chucky franchise. They probably had a lot of puppeteers.
I think that's mostly CGI. Actually, I don't know. I haven't looked into production of Chucky. I've never even watched Chucky, which is another thing I have on my.
The older ones did have puppetry.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, the newer one has puppetry, definitely.
I think the best thing that elevates it was practical. It was all practical.
Oh yeah, the practicality of the movie is probably what saved most of the critic reviews. Because even critics who didn't like the movie admitted that the animatronic work in the movie was impressive, and that the actors who had to walk and move around as the animatronics were just as impressive. That they managed to do those movements so well.
Yeah, I heard that the suits were very heavy according.
Oh, I'm not shocked. They look heavy. They sound heavy. They are heavy.
Yeah, they probably would be heavy.
I can only imagine what Matthew felt like.
I guess with that we can move on to what we liked and what we didn't like about the movie. I guess I'll start us off this time. What I liked is honestly the atmosphere the movie set out from the first moment it began. Not even past the Universal logo. There was already static interfering with the Universal logo. So that's how it brought me in to the world of just eerie FNAF 1 feeling, and seeing the guard immediately just frantically try and unscrew the vent while he boarded up the door, and you can hear banging from the other side, and tables are being knocked down after being propped up against the door, and he's desperately trying to escape. All the animatronics are off stage, but you don't see them. You can see Foxy's shadow on the wall, and you can hear the animatronics performing, but you don't see them. And immediately when the title sequence began, like you said, Pick, it just brought us right back into the world of FNAF, and you too, Allison, like you said, just brings you right back to 2014. It's like, we never left. We've been here, we are waiting every night, as the credits say.
Yeah.
And it's so, like, I know we just said this, but the animatronics are great, the prose, it's like the atmosphere of Freddy's. It's kind of like the same way I'd look at stuff like Tatmar, Thomas and the Magic Railroad, where like the title characters, when they are on screen, it's always a highlight. We came to the movie to see them, they are the peak of the film. Not to say that the humans are bad, because unlike Magic Railroad, I do enjoy the human scenes. And, you know, they don't feel fluff. There's not a stopping filler
That's
moment
what I was
in the movie.
about. With the humans in the movies were going to be trash, because like humans in movies with the creatures trying to kill are usually terrible. Take most like movies nowadays. That's what my mind goes to. The Godzilla now, apart from -1, which wasn't an American-made film, and -1 was incredible, by the way. The Godzilla films have awful human characters. I hated sitting through all the human characters in most of the newer Godzilla films, and I was just sitting there, just waiting for Godzilla to pop up, really, and then I'd be happy for about 5 minutes, and then they'd cut away. That's what most movies like to do with the big creatures of the title. By the way, that's what they like to do now.
It's like with Alvin and the Chipmunks, you go to see a movie about them, not David Cross and, you know, Dave Seville's actor just, like, cracking jokes every now and then, or in a rivalry for music or whatever. Or you don't go to watch the Smurfs to watch Neil Patrick Harris have a parenting thing. Or, to quote Usual Bloke Luke, when you see a poster about Optimus Prime, you go to see a movie about Optimus Prime, not Mark Wahlberg cracking open a Bud Light on someone's car!
Yep.
You know?
Or
That's
like
something FNAF got right.
Or like the freaking Michael Bay-esque of the Ninja Turtles. Like, I wanted to see more of the Turtles and Shredder, but they're like, no, more focus on April O'Neil because Megan Fox.
It's just them trying to appeal to the adults. But, like, why do you need to appeal to the adults for a movie like this, where we know the IP going in, we want to see more about the IP, not these new characters who weren't part of the IP that we don't care about.
And that's what FNAF got right, that's what Mario got right, that's what Godzilla -1 got right, Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem got right. They were all focused on the main, like, title characters.
And even Sonic, which for the first movie was kind of a little bit like Sonic was there, make no mistake, but there were a lot of humans. But for Sonic 2, they heavily improved upon that.
Yeah, so. And I'm so excited for Sonic 3.
Yeah, me too.
Gotta see Sonic 3, guys. Looking forward to that.
I feel like it's gonna be the best one.
Yeah, I can't wait to see Shadow, because the reason why I got into Sonic was because of Shadow. Oh boy, Shadow's canon event. Sorry, Shadow, you're gonna have to see Maria die.
Yeah.
She was teased in a body bag, so she's dead.
Oh yeah. For what I didn't like about the movie, though, I've got to say, again, Vanessa is basically just, when you boil her down, she's just a wiki. Some of the human scenes, like, a lot of characters are just meat for the grinder, though. This is something I bash Murder Drones for, and continue to do so to this day. It's just introducing characters that, you know, you expect us to care about when they die. Like Max! Like, we were meant to care about her from the way she acted, but she had no character, really, so when she died, didn't really feel anything. It's like, it's more so the fear factor of what happened to her, not actually her dying herself that I cared about. It's setting up characters that are just there to die.
Max, Jeff, Cole, and Hank were definitely there just to die. They were the part of the movie that was meant to be the kill animatronics doing what we came there to see them do, and that was kill in, I guess, left to the imagination in a gore fest, I guess. They're the best you could do with PG-13, which I'm fine with that. Every movie I think that would pertain to some people who have to die because that's the main point of the IP, it's fine to have people to just get killed off because that's the fun of it. I love movies like that.
I just
love
feel like
Halloween.
it would have hit harder if they were developed and then killed, because we would have felt like horrible for them. It's like, oh, I really liked that character. I wanted to see them make it through this, but they didn't.
That's something I'll say about the novel. Max in the novel is definitely more built than the movie. Like it's, but she's telling Mike like, hey, Abby's really talented. She doesn't hate you as much as you think, and she likes them.
We kind of get that in the movie, sort of.
She likes Mike.
We sort of get that in the movie where Jane says, like, you've told me what a nice kid my niece is, so I guess that's kind of that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What a gift my niece is.
Vandalers, like, they were just there to be, like, aesthetics to, just, like, extras to be killed.
I will say this, they were handled better than Willy's Wonderland, who were literally all cookie-cutter stereotypes. So these guys were far more bearable than the Willy's Wonderland deaths.
Yeah, for real. Especially the two couple, the couple, they were kind of like the worst out of the movie because, I mean, at first the girl with
looking at all of them, looking at all the kids in Willy's Wonderland, the moment they appeared on screen and started talking, I was like, please, all of you, die a horrid death by the end of this movie.
And they did! Got what you wanted. Good.
And they did. And then everyone died!
But everyone died. Willy's Wonderland is a guilty pleasure for me. I'm sorry, T.A.G.
It is.
The movie.
I mean, I do like Willy's Wonderland, make no mistake. It's a goofy movie, and, you know, I like it.
I think it's a better bad movie than Banana Splits, personally.
Banana Splits, yes, that was bad. Me and my sister, I'm not just gonna hide this. I love Banana Splits. I watched it on Boomerang with my sister when we were little. And just seeing it was turned into a horror movie, just made me kind of feel kind of like a meh. But I didn't want to judge it, so I did watch it. My thoughts were just kind of... It was just a FNAF movie ripoff. It was just that. Except, like, freaking Snorky came in clutch, man. Snorky came in clutch. With Willy's Wonderland, the two characters there, the couple, they just kind of, like, ruined the movie a little bit.
Yeah, for another con, I do have... some of, like, we don't get to see the animatronics that much through the movie. Like, we don't get to Freddy's until 20 minutes in, and we don't see the animatronics moving on screen until 40 minutes in. Yeah, I did the math. We don't go to Freddy's. Mike doesn't arrive at Freddy's till 20 minutes into the movie, and we don't see the animatronics with that little flashlight scene with them on stage till 40 minutes. Oh, wait, no, sorry. We don't see them moving until 40 minutes in. I think it's around, like, 25, 28 minutes before we actually see the animatronics. So it took its damn time showing us the title characters. That's something I hope the second movie can improve on. Like, more time showing us the robots and having them do stuff. Because even in the Freddy Fazbear, the face of the franchise, did barely anything in this movie. Everyone else, fan favorites like Foxy and even the frickin' Cupcake got more to do than Freddy Fazbear. Like, not even the Toreador March. You put it in the trailers, but you didn't put it in the movie. That's a massive con. That, like, Freddy didn't get anything to do other than chomp someone in half, and that was it.
You want to know something that's funny, though? Like, it's kind of, like, accurate to the games of, like, Freddy not doing anything until, like, maybe night 3 or 4 and 5. That's, like Freddy doesn't...
I know, but, like... For a movie, I would have liked to see them change that up a little bit. If we are going for, like, a new continuity with the films, I would like to see Freddy do something.
Yeah, other than just, like, sit behind lines and just chill.
Quickly, though, Allison, what were your pros and cons on the movie? What did you like and what didn't you like?
I like the fort scene. Pretty well drawn out. I don't know why people were complaining about it. I'm like... I can see why, but it's like they're kids. They're playing with another kid their age. They haven't played with anyone in like 30 years. In years upon years of staying in that building, they haven't played with anyone in years. Ever since the place closed down. So it's not their fault. Just the animatronics were all just enjoyable. Like you said, T.A.G, I wish we would have gotten more screen time with them. I'm just saying this now. Bonnie is a goober and I love him. I really do. He's a little goober, goofy goober. The thing I didn't really like though, is the fact that the scene where basically Michael gives up Abby as like a sacrifice to be with his family, even though Abby is his family.
It just felt really selfish on his part.
Yeah, it really was like his only living family member who hasn't like left him or tried to go against him, like his aunt. I'm gonna be talking about the aunt here in a minute because I got some beef with her.
Yeah, now's the time to talk about it for the stuff that you didn't like.
Aunt Jane. The actress of her did great. Very snarky. She did very well with her. Just the fact that Aunt Jane was willing to go to these lengths just to get Michael in trouble for something I could see why. Because from her perspective, for one, Michael isn't really fit to look over a child because of his mental state, which I completely get. But that still doesn't give her the excuse to treat people the way she does. Like with Doug, that poor man needs therapy and appetizers. And the fact that she was only doing it for the money, that's the thing that always drives me nuts in every horror movie I've ever seen. Like Friday the 13th, probably Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm gonna have to rewatch that again. Halloween, other big baddies would always focus on money or profit or something like that regarding a child. They're like, oh, money. If we get this person, then we'll get money. And she didn't even care about the well-being of the child. She just only cared about the money. Another thing I wish we could have had was like Chica bodying some people, because it seemed like the roles were switched with Freddy and Chica, with Chica doing less of the work, and she's just kind of like in the back, just like not doing much. She was just like kind of there and having the cupcake do the work. And then there was just Freddy. He was kind of mildly doing work. Same with Bonnie and Foxy and Cupcake and Golden Freddy. He was just like getting the milk. He was just like, yeah, I'm just here.
Oh yeah, they massively like underutilized the physical animatronic form of Golden Freddy in the movie. Like they spent God knows how much money on this animatronic of Golden Freddy only for him to appear for like a maximum of 2 minutes on screen. Again, there were like 20 deleted scenes of the movie, so maybe they had more planned, but who knows. What about you, Pick? What are your pros and cons for the FNAF movie?
Alright, so the pros were kind of just gonna pretty much be the same as you guys. It was a great success for fans, especially in the box office, because holy hell, it did way better than I thought it would. The animatronics were a joy when they were on screen. They were really cool looking, really well puppeteered. Love the human actors. They were great. As a FNAF fan, the story was the easiest to follow it has been in years, and I do appreciate that. Even like outside of the movie, the theater experience I had in this movie was like any other theater experience I've had watching a movie. Not even Mario had the movie like reactions that this theater I had did. And I think it amplified it that it was a early like preview kind of thing. Because the only people who are really going to go to a one-day early preview for Five Nights at Freddy's are fans of the franchise. And I had to laugh. My mom told me after the movie that she was annoyed half the time. Not because of the movie, but because of the little 10-year-old next to her singing the Living Tombstone song the entire movie. I felt bad for her, but that was also kind of fun. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't hear that kid.
That's when you also become William Afton and stab the child.
I'm sure she was about to be. Good God. Yeah, music was great. Set was great. It was a great movie all around. The cons of the movie, as I've said, some of the acting was weird. Some of the scenes were kind of unnecessary. Even the robot emotions. That's also another con, that they had a bit too much. They were too expressive to me. I'd say the length of the movie a little bit. It's a 2-hour movie. It's about a 2-hour movie. But I feel like they could have explained a bit more had it been maybe 15-20 minutes longer and made it easier to like digest some of the
Yeah.
information. That was
It's kind of the same case as the Mario movie. It
Yeah, the
hadn't-
Mario movie
like
was-
it understayed its welcome, kind of.
definitely. I definitely walked out of the Mario movie. I walked out of the Mario movie satisfied, but I was also like, didn't we just get to the theater to come see this? Kind of feeling.
It's like you were happy, but you were still left wanting more.
Yeah, and hey, we're getting that in 2 years, so.
Yeah. So yeah, we already got confirmation of a sequel. So
Yeah.
we'll cross that bridge
Which was a
when we get to
surprise.
it.
I didn't expect it to be announced so soon and come out so soon. I thought it'd be another, maybe like 27, 28 kind of thing. Considering this one took, like, they said like 6 years, I think, for this one. So
Let's move on to our final thoughts and ratings then. So our final full 100%. How do we feel about Five Nights at Freddy's the movie? Just ultimately. So let's begin with you again, Pick. Just your full-on, just concrete thoughts on the movie as a whole.
my simplified, I guess you could say, thoughts about the movie were, it was what FNAF needed at this point in time. It was a complete treat for fans. It was worth the 8-year wait for me, at least. And even if the movie side of me was a little bit iffy on it and could see that it was not the greatest movie, it was definitely a FNAF movie, and that's all it needed to be for me. If I were to give it a rating real quick, I'd probably give it a 7-8 out of 10 in general.
Yeah. How about you, Allison? What are your concrete thoughts and 0 out of 10 ratings on the film?
I know I'm probably gonna get something about this, but I don't care. I'm just saying I give it all a 10 out of 10. Yes, it had some problems, but I liked it. And people can say their opinions about it, which I am okay with. But I overall enjoyed it. Like Pick said, it was a movie for the fans. I just felt complete nostalgia with it. It was good overall. And I hope we get to see like more in the sequel.
I want to say something real quick, by the way, that this movie and the coming trilogy that's coming from it, this feels like we're going back to the 2014 era, and we're gonna relive it for 3 movies, and then it's gonna end with the solemn note of the 3rd movie's ending. That's what I'm thinking is gonna happen. That we're reliving an era that we wanted to go back to since, I don't know, Sister Location, I think, was like the end of one era and the start of another.
Yeah, Sister Location was like a new era for FNAF, and for some people, myself included, I'm not a biggest fan of the post-FNAF 4/World era. That it got iffy starting with Sister Location for me. But with the movies, I'm glad we're steering back from that and looking back at what made FNAF so successful.
And I think it's going to be emotional when the 3rd movie comes out. And if it is the end of the trilogy, it's going to be a complete end. It's going to be complete for FNAF fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Like,
as we know,
fulfilled.
FNAF 3 was meant to be the final game. Originally, when it first came out, that was meant to be the end. What happened at Fredbear's was always meant to be a mystery, because we weren't supposed to get FNAF 4. The 3rd one was supposed to be the end. So for the movies, I don't think there is going to be Fredbear's Law. I think the 3rd film is going to be just, that's it. This is the perfect encapsulation of the FNAF story.
It's going to be the showdown between Mike and maybe Vanessa and Abby and Springtrap. Definitely Springtrap.
Yeah, and when he dies this time, he won't come back. He will actually burn in that fire and die.
If there is a Fazbear Fright, it could just be some other location.
If there is a Fazbear Fright.
If it is Fazbear, it's going to burn either way. Doesn't matter what location it will be. It's going to burn. He's going to die. The kids are finally going to be able to go up to heaven where they belong in the first place. And Mike and the rest of the cast can just move on with their lives. And that's how the movie's going to end. The trilogy, at least. That's how I think it's going to end.
Until we get like a Peacock series about Sister Location and FNAF.
No.
CGI spin-off.
No.
FNAF World
Honestly-
Series would be wild.
I think I agree with both of you. I'll give it like an 8.5 out of 10. By a normal movie standards, not perfect. Not by any means, but I don't think it was trying to be. Like I said at the beginning, Jason made it clear in the interviews and the advertisements, this was a film for the fans. And the 8-year wait, I'd say, was worth the wait. It was, like, definitely worth all of the troubles that went through Warner Brothers, all the, like, removed scripts, and, you know, stuff that even never saw the light of day, like, Plushies Taking Manhattan, the Cassidy script, like, the Vengeful Spirit, even stuff like the Banana Splits that happened, and we have mixed reactions on those. It's just a so bad it's good movie, and same with Willy's Wonderland, they're just goofy movies. But for FNAF, this paid respect to the lore, it paid respect to the original first game, and what made FNAF so special in the first place. And while it did fumble in a few short places, for the majority of the film, it stayed true to its fans, it knew what it was, and is setting up possibly the best version of the story that it could possibly tell. This is the cleanest way to understand the original first few games story of Five Nights at Freddy's. So for that, and for being a movie for the fans and staying so true to us after all these years, despite all the shortcomings, I'm going to give this an 8.5 out of 10. Well done, Scott. Well done, Jason. Well done, Blumhouse. Well done, everyone who was involved with this movie. And just thank you for not giving up on us, honestly. It's been... Watching that in theaters with my brothers after making that pack years ago to watch it together was so fun. A treat for fans. And we all just loved the hell out of it. You guys knocked it out of the ballpark, and I can't wait to see... I'm glad it was successful for you guys as well. The box office numbers speak for themselves, and while some of the critics were just, like, giving it, what, like, a 1% more than the original Mario Brothers movie? Come the hell on, guys. It's not that bad, but then again, we know you're being paid by Disney to give non-Disney movie films bad reviews, okay? Don't try to hide. We've seen those leaked Zoom calls. We know. But, yeah, it's a fun movie. It doesn't have to be cinematic gold, because movies that are doing that end up flopping horrendously, spending $400 million on an Avengers film that can't even make that budget back. You don't need a massive budget to be a good film. That's a lesson to take away from this. If you pay attention to what the fans want, you make a movie for them, it doesn't matter the budget, as long as it just, like, respects the source, you can make a really fun movie and a really fun franchise and gain a fun audience. I know that even more than fans enjoyed this film, because maybe even some new people came in and saw, oh, what's FNAF? I'll take a look at this, let's play the first game, oh, there's some lore here, some game theory videos, bam, they're hooked on FNAF for life. It's that easy. So, yeah, 8.5 out of 10, I thought it was a great film, despite a few minor nitpicks, but, yeah, we really enjoyed this movie, and I want to thank the two of you for joining me on this movie review. How long did this end up being? Oh, same length as the Mario movie review. I'm going to enjoy editing this.
I feel like any video game movie you review is going to be something like a 2.5 hour long.
I was so ready for this to be like an hour and a half. It felt like at 48 minutes we were going to get through this within an hour and a half.
Oh God, no! I didn't even expect that. We're the people who hardcore have been with FNAF, so we definitely had a lot of opinions to share. So I'm not shocked.
Oh yeah, we do. But thank you, Allison, for joining me on this, and thank you, Pick, as well, for joining me on this.
I will say it's been fun to be back. I have missed hanging out with you again and talking to you again, and I think talking about this movie with you, it was a perfect. I feel like it was a good way to come back to this.
Yeah, because the last time you and I did something together was
it's probably
well, if it was on this length, it was watching Fun Times in Gmod, and then there was also that Cuphead Show Episode 1 reaction and the Enter the Flawless Watch thing we did together the day it came out.
God, yeah.
So honestly, it's nice to do this again and just chat like you with it.
I mean, I don't wish for more movies to just come out on streaming before theaters, but if there was a way to relive something like Zim with you again, I'd 100% do it.
Maybe we'll review that someday, and that'll take up 4 hours of our time.
Hey, maybe. There is a lot to say about that movie that should be said. There's not a lot of reviews for the movie that really give it the credit it deserves. They definitely praise the movie like they should, but, you know.
No problem. This was fun.
Yeah. So, for all of you watching at home, thank you for listening and to our thoughts on the FNAF movie. The review is over. It's here at last. I hope you all enjoyed. I'm the Amazing Gamer 111. This was Allison and Pick, and we will see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.